Hello and welcome back to the Heart of Amethyst. We will be continuing where we left off with Almond. So if you recall, I believe that Eli and Almond were having a conversation about Almond's brother, which is the guy that Eli met at the ball. And despite the fact that he seemed like a nice guy and everything seemed fine, and despite the fact that it looked like he was actually one of Almond's other flings, brother, it seems that there is some animosity, at least with Almond. Meaning that Almond has some animosity because of how they treated him. If I recall correctly, he is the illegitimate son of the father, and although the brother actually never saw Almond as anything more than his brother, his mother, and I believe any other sibling that he might have, did not like Almond, and they mistreated him and they sent him away. So yeah, I think that's how he ended up on the streets for a while. So yeah, like, Almond has a bitter taste in his mouth regarding his own brother. Even though his brother kind of wants him back, and he's like telling him like, hey, you should come back with me, I want to talk with you, etc, etc. And unfortunately, Almond missed the point where he could do that, where he could talk to his brother and learn that he wants, to rebuild his relationship with him. And he was all sad about that. But him and Eli had a moment, so yeah, it was nice. So yeah, we're gonna see the continuation of that. Anyway, so yeah, without further ado, let us continue the Almond route. The air was still cold, the kind of sharp chill that bit through fur like a knife. Moreover, this early in the morning, not even the birds are up yet. My eyes were barely open, and yet he had dragged me out here before I could say otherwise. The wolf assured me that it would be worth it, and for his sake, I hope it was. The castle was already far behind us, the light coming from the torches just faint sparks in the distance, swallowed by the trees. Almond, I muttered, rubbing my eyes as I stifled a yawn. Do you plan on telling me where the hell we're going? We'll be there in a second. That's all he said, not even stopping for a second to look back at me. I felt a little frustrated by that, however I didn't have the time nor the energy to be mad at him. Mainly because all my tired brain could think of was just to take one step after the other, minding the roots and puddles. The last thing that I wanted was to trip and fall. Dragging someone into the woods before dawn without warning is the kind of thing that gets you killed in stories. If you think about it, you could be a serial killer and I the helpless victim. I tried to strike a conversation again, my voice slow but playful. However, the wolf's pace remained unchanging, and the silence was really starting to piss me off. Although as flashes from yesterday invaded my mind, my anger soon turned into worry, as I couldn't help but wonder how the wolf was dealing with his emotions. You're not often this quiet. Are you okay? The wolf didn't answer, not even a twitch of an ear in my direction. I frowned, my words hanging in the cold air, like the morning mist that surrounded us. Normally, Almond would at least throw a sarcastic jab at me, if only to keep me from whining too much. But now, nothing. My chest tightened as I watched him move ahead. Suddenly, I felt this weird distance forming between us, as if the talk that we had yesterday had only worsened our relationship instead of improving it. Almond? Is this because of yesterday? No answer. Just his tail swaying low, the curve of his back tense against the shy rays of the sunlight that were breaking through the mountains. If I said something wrong, you can tell me. I didn't mean to be pushy, Each word that I let out only seemed to bounce back at me, swallowed by the trees and the mist, until the quiet pressed against my ears like a weight. Almond, please, can we stop and talk about it? I mean, if you're upset, we can work something out, yeah? The wolf's pace didn't falter, and suddenly my throat felt tight, heat burning at the back of my eyes despite the cold. Why was this affecting me so much? It's not like he and I... We're not a thing. So why was this silence bringing me close to tears? Was it because I was scared that I had crossed a line not meant to be crossed? Or perhaps was I anxious about the idea that he didn't want anything else to do with me? I don't get it. When did this man start to mean so much to me? If you don't want me around anymore, that's okay, just say so at least. I bit down hard on my tongue, but the words kept spilling. My thoughts were racing too fast to catch. Goddesses, I hate how much I was letting this affect me. Maybe I should just turn back and... But as I was about to turn around, he softly grabbed my wrist, stopping me in my tracks. He looked at me with those big green eyes of his, smiling softly as he was clearly trying to calm me down. Just a bit further. Believe it or not, that managed to calm me down. So I decided to zip it and trust him, following along with our hands locked together. Eventually, he slowed down as we broke through the mist and arrived at a wide clearing in the middle of the forest. Almond walked forward a few steps, and as I followed him behind, I soon came to realize why he was so insistent on coming here so early. We were right on top of a hill with a perfect view of the sunrise. As I looked at him, I could see his shoulders rising and falling with a long, controlled breath. Then after a few seconds of silence, he turned to me and said, "You know, I really like it when you get nervous. You start to talk and talk, makes you look real cute." As Almond complimented my weird social traits that I couldn't help but blush a little. "But right now, mate, let me do the talking, yeah?" Almond's eyes lingered on mine for a moment longer, his grip still steady around my hand as if anchoring me in place. Okay. He smiled and then turned his gaze towards the sun. "I'm not very good at this, though," he admitted, his voice low, almost embarrassed. However, after he took another deep breath, the shyness quickly changed to confidence. "Most of the time, people don't get to see this part of me. It's easier to put on a mask, make a joke, or push people away. If I don't let them get too close, they can't hurt me. Simple as that. It's mainly because of what happened with my family. I have a hard time trusting in good intentions of other people." He looked down, his ears twitching faintly. Then the wolf scratched the back of his neck as he tried to find the words to keep going. "What they did, what he did, messed me up real bad. Ever since then, I've built walls so high, I stopped believing anyone would bother to climb them. So I stopped caring about people. Fuck the world and all that. Despite all that, I kept craving the touch of others. Having casual sex, being flirtatious with men and women alike. It all just became my second nature. I was using them just as much as they were using me. Didn't even question it. Now, don't get me wrong. Felt hella good. I ain't gonna say that I didn't enjoy it. However, a little part of me refused to believe that's all that there was. I knew deep down that there was something missing, you know? But I was too into my own mess to look for something better." He paused, then glanced at me, a small flicker of vulnerability breaking through. His cheeks were fully flushed at this point, and I'm certain that mine were too. "And then I met you. At first, I just saw you like another prey. Cute little fox who was playing hard to get. It really turned me on." He chuckled at his own comment, although by his face I could see that he was not trying to flirt, he was being sincere for once. "However, the more that I got to know you, the more that I noticed how different you were." My heart skipped a beat and I found myself holding my breath. "I'm really happy to have met you, mate. I mean it. With you by my side, I ain't feel like I need to be this sexy, confident wolf all the time. I can just be me. A dumb idiot with lots of flaws. And for that, I thank you, mate." His voice trembled and he squeezed my hand a little tighter, almost as if he was afraid that I'd pull away. For the first time in years, maybe since I was a pup, I didn't feel lonely no more. Almond let out a nervous laugh, ears folding back slightly. "Sorry, I'm rambling, aren't I?" I swallowed hard, my throat dry, unsure if I could even answer him without my voice cracking. "No, it's fine." The wolf's smile brightened as I said that, giving my hand another squeeze. "There's a reason that I brought you here today. Aside from tucking me hard out like this." He motioned towards the horizon where the sky was bleeding into soft shades of orange and pink. "This happens once every year right when summer ends. We're right on time to see them depart." His eyes softened, full of amazement and wonder, which I had never seen before. I was about to ask him what he meant by that when... From the grass and bushes, hundreds of butterflies started to take flight. Soon we were surrounded by the biggest flutter of butterflies that I had ever seen in my life. It felt like the forest itself had been holding its breath until now, only to exhale into a whirlwind of life and color. I immediately recognized their blue wings and dark bodies. These were sapphire phoenixes. They were an endemic species from the western territories of the Canine Kingdom. Old canine lore says that these butterflies represent new beginnings and resurrection, hence their name. These butterflies always take off together with the sunrise, flying south. No one knows how they know the exact day, but it's always the same. Cool, ain't it? It's beautiful. I was dumbfounded by the scene in front of me. At a loss for words, I limited myself to admire the beauty of nature. The butterflies swirled around us, brushing against my hair, my shoulders, and my face. Moreover, I could feel the gentle tickle of their wings against my fur. Almond laughed softly beside me, eyes wide, his expression almost boyish. "Looks like they like you. They can probably still taste the shampoo on my fur. I took a bath last night." Almond chuckled at that, his tail giving a slow, content wag. I turned to glance at him, and for a moment the glow of the rising sun caught in his eyes, making them shimmer like molten gold. He wasn't looking at the butterflies anymore. He was looking at me. I opened my mouth to say something, but the words got caught in my throat. Then before I could snap out of it, the wolf started talking again. "They say..." Almond began, his voice almost a whisper as one of the sapphire phoenixes landed delicately on his cheek. He lifted his little fella up, presenting it to me. It was so little, so fragile, yet it carried a certain strength to it. The strength to fly free. If a butterfly stays with you instead of flying south, it means your soul has found its home. The creature clung to his fur a moment longer, then fluttered off to join the cloud of blue rising above us. Almond's gaze followed it for only a second before drifting back to me, softer than I'd ever seen. I ain't one to believe those sort of stories. But standing here with you, it doesn't sound so far-fetched. My heart skipped at another beat as I lost myself in the wolf's eyes. Soon enough, the butterflies vanished into the sky one by one, leaving me and the wolf alone. When the last of the sapphire phoenixes vanished into the horizon, a silence settled between us, tender, almost sacred. The mist thinned and the sunlight slipped through the canopy, painting the wolf's fur in copper and gold. Almond let out a breath that I hadn't realized he'd been holding. They changed every year, you know. Not just their path, but their wings too. Folks say no two flutters are the same. That's why I like them. You don't get stronger by staying the same. Even a butterfly knows that. His words held a deeper meaning, and I got the feeling that we were not talking about the butterflies anymore. Well, I think they're awesome. Thank you for showing me this. Soon after I said that, we returned to the castle and got ready to go about our day. although all the way back, Almond never let go of my hand. I jumped from one rock to the next, arms spread wide to keep my balance. The stream below gurgled loudly, cheering for me to fall onto it, wishing to drench me with its cold water. But I was no easy target. I had skipped these rocks a million times over, and I would do it a million times more. So I laughed victoriously as I safely landed on the other end, dry and unbeatable. Better luck next time, I said to the water as I ran ahead, pushing past low branches and ferns that snapped back into place behind me. The forest was full of life as always. The birds were singing happily above me. The bugs hid as I ran past them, and a family of little bunnies jumped around when they saw me pass. I slowed down only when my lungs started to burn, paws resting on my knees as I caught my breath. Then I dropped onto the floor, basking on the feeling of grass on my fur. The air smelled like wet earth and pine sap, familiar and comforting. Moreover, I couldn't help but get comfortable, stretching my body and taking a deep breath. The sky above me melted into soft shades of pink and peach, brushed with lavender and pale gold. I lazily watched the sky and counted the clouds as they stretched and folded into new shapes. I closed my eyes and relaxed, feeling more comfortable than I've been in years. However, before I could start counting sheep to fall into slumber, I felt a presence sitting beside me. At first, I couldn't recognize who it was, and for some reason my eyes were stuck on the sky, unable to move away from its hypnotic movements. But then, as a soft touch grazed my shoulder, I immediately recognized this mystery person. "Mom?" She didn't respond, she just let her touch linger, which made me feel an array of emotions that were about to bring me to tears. "I thought you were making dinner. What are you doing out here?" Again, silence. I couldn't tell what was going on inside of her head, but for now, the fact that I could feel her touch was enough for me. I want to tell you so many things. Don't even know where to start." I nervously chuckled at my own comment, unable to think of anything to say. However, before I realized, words started to come out of my mouth. "I'm really trying my hardest, you know." I continued, wanting to fill the silence with chatter, hoping this moment would stretch for longer. "I haven't found Mary, though. I'm sorry. I know it's been 15 years, but the kingdom is really big and I'm just a commoner. So please, please, don't be mad." Her thumb paused for just a second, then resumed its slow rhythm. So I took this as a sign that she was listening. "Mr. Biscotti is doing fine, by the way. He's been taking care of me since what? I can't remember. Anyway, I've gotten into some trouble here and there, but it's nothing that I can't handle." "Well, actually, I've been getting into a lot of trouble lately. Been through some major life changes. You won't believe who I met. The king. I met face to face with the king himself. Can you believe that?" Her hand stilled again, longer this time, and I felt a gentle weight press against my side, like she leaned closer. She lifted my head softly and placed it on the top of her lap. Then a moment after, I felt her fingers brush my hair softly, messing with it as she would usually do. "Yeah, I know. You probably think that I'm crazy, but it's true. He even offered me a job. Been under his wing for the past few months. That's when I met Almond. Oh boy, where do I even begin with him?" I shifted slightly on her lap, staring up at the cotton candy sky, as if the clouds themselves might help me find the words. "He's very unique. Or better said, he's got a very unique perspective about life. He's the type of guy that really doesn't care about appearances, not the kind others cling to, at least. Also, he will always do what he wants, when he wants. He can be rude, pushy, shameless, incorrigible, and far too aware of his own charm. And yet, my fingers toyed absently with the hem of my sleeve. He notices things, small things. Every time that I'm feeling down, he somehow always knows. When I'm scared or sad, he's there to comfort me. And now, even his stupid horny jokes have started to make me laugh. Besides, he knows how to make you feel special, and he offers you so many compliments that at some point you may even start believing him. At first, I thought that it was all play. That it was merely another passing diversion for him. But now, I'm not so sure about that anymore, and not knowing is making me crazy. I press both of my paws onto my face, feeling my cheeks grow red by the second. Of all the souls in this world, she is the last that I wish to see me so undone by a man. And when he smiles, it feels like standing in sunlight after days of rain. Sometimes it's a gentle smile, sometimes it's a timid one. But I like it the most when he's bold and crooked. And far too confident and sexy for his own good. I like it more than I should. Sorry, I'm talking too much. That was when I felt her hand rest on mine, and I finally managed to get a glance at her face. She looked as beautiful as always, as if not a mere moment had passed since. My silly son, those feelings are good. You don't have to hide them. Keep them close to your heart, especially in times to come, as you will need reliable people who you can depend on. She places a hand on each of my cheeks, and I can't help but melt. My brave child, stay strong, and whatever happens, always rely on your friends. The way forward will be paved by the will of your heart. May the light guide your way. Mom? And just like that, all of a sudden I was back in my room. Tears were running down my face as my breath caught halfway in my throat. The ceiling above me was no longer painted in pink and gold, but in the pale gray of early dawn. The forest was gone alongside the warmth of her touch. The sheets beneath me were twisted and damp, most likely from sweat and tears. And then, as I pressed my heel on my paw against my eyes, I finally understood. It was just a dream. Man, I can't help but wonder. Did you get to see the boys' secret scenes, or did you somehow end up reading the shortest update so far? If all you got was a dream with Eli and his mom, well, congratulations. You didn't earn enough love points. That means that you'll have to replay the whole game. Just kidding. You can simply use the chapter select menu and jump back to the beginning of chapter 4 with max love points. What you do from there is up to you. For those of you who did read the secret scenes, what did you think? Which one was your favorite? Did you stick with a single route or did you read all 3? I genuinely love to hear your thoughts. If you haven't already considered joining our Discord server, feel free to stop by and say hi. I'd love to have you as part of our little community that we've built. Personally, these scenes were some of my favorite to write. Each one had to feel unique, intimate, and true to their character. I think that I wrote them 5 or 6 times before I was finally happy with them. It was a lot of work, but also an absolute joy. On to other news, the next update will be the start of Chapter 5, a very decisive chapter in which Eli's fate will be decided. It will be named The Branching Paths, so you better have 3 saved files ready. Wink wink. As always, thank you lots to my Patreons. Your support and patience means the world to me. If you want to become one of my wonderful supporters, there is a Patreon link for you. Anyways, there's not really much else to say, except for... thank you. Seriously, the fact that you took the time to download my game, read my story, and spend a little while with these characters means more to me than I can properly put into words. I truly hope that they made you laugh, smile, or maybe even think for a little while. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next update. Until then... Almond, Almond, Almond. Ever the suave little smooth talker. But I suppose it also is nice that he's finally actually opening up to Eli. It isn't like a ploy or anything like that. It's actually him wanting to be close with Eli and wanting to feel like there is a connection there now, as he stated that in the past, all those flings, everything like that, that was never really anything permanent, anything that he actually was seeking out for something long-term. It was all just for fun, because he was craving that human touch, even though he was also pushing people away at the same time. Which, I mean, we're all guilty of doing at some point, I suppose. And for him, it's excused, I suppose, because, I mean, he had a bad childhood. And then he was spurned by the person that he thought that he could trust in his family, his brother, but yeah. So yeah. Anywho, so what are your thoughts? Write it down in the comments, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Heart of Amethyst yourself, you can do so by going down to the link in the description, which will have a direct link for the itch.io page, or you can download and play the game yourself. If you would like to support the project, consider joining the Patreon, which gives you earlier access to builds of Heart of Amethyst, and some behind-the-scenes stuff, and some spicy stuff, because there is some spicy stuff on there. Hopefully still. If you would like to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member, which gives you earlier access to these videos as they're being scheduled. This will be coming out probably at the middle of August for the public, but everyone else should be able to see it soon, hopefully. By everyone else, I mean the channel members. Consider, you know, any form of support is appreciated, really. Like, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I do have a Ko-fi in case you don't want to support through YouTube, but like, yeah, you know, Ko-fi, Throne, whatever you feel like it. Anyway, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.